Hi, everyone, and welcome back to High Tea Hoops.
High Tea Hoops.
We're back with another great interview today. Here
Yep.
with Brian, as always.
Hello.
Brian, how's it going?
Hello, it's going great. Can't wait for today's interview.
Super excited. Nice. So let's introduce our guest. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Martin Dyan on the show today. Martin, how's it going?
What's up?
What's up? Thank you very much for inviting me on. I'm excited to chat to you both.
Absolutely.
We are
Requested
so
through
excited
Twitter.
to have you.
We're like, who should we interview? And everyone's like, you got to get Martin on the pod. He's in demand.
I'm honored.
To be fair, I've been saying we needed to get you on the pod for a while.
True.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm either way, I'm flattered and very delighted to chat to you both because you're both doing, I would say this on the record, doing an amazing job on IT.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're creating and the collaboration and stuff has just been brilliant. So yeah, excited
Thank
to
you.
both.
So I'm sure a bunch of people in the, British basketball scene already know you, but for the people who don't, you want to just start with giving them a little bit of your background?
Sure. Yeah, we're not. So yeah, for some it's quite surprising because not many people are born and still live in London. So I live in Northwest London. Went to school here. I went to university in Birmingham, so about an hour just north of London, depending on how quickly you're driving there. And from I've been working in PR and communications for over 10 years now, but over the past say 4 to 5 years I've really started getting more involved in basketball. I've always been involved in some respect. I played as a little kid and my friends were like, what is this game that you're playing? It's quite rare, right? And you meet a few other kids on the basketball court and that's how you get into it. And then I played at school. I was kind of like my school captain, and then played a little bit at university. And then I've just kind of more and more increasingly become involved in the game and in the whole community as well.
Nice. So we're always super interested in what kind of got people into basketball in the first place in the UK, because like you said, it is kind of rare to play the game. So were you watching NBA on TV? Did you have, an older brother, an older cousin who was playing? What kind of got you into it?
Okay, so there's probably three predominant things that got me into it. So the first thing is my brother and I used to play football in the back garden, and he used to put me in goal, and he would always kick the ball at me. And he was like,
classic.
Well, he was like, yeah, everyone needs a goalie, but I think he kick the ball in my face. I think that's really it. And,
that's absolutely it. As an older brother, yes, that is the reason.
It, right? Yeah. And so he would kick the ball at me and I'd be able to catch it, which is all good. Kicking it back was a different matter. I couldn't really kick straight, no left leg, no left foot. And but my sister had a netball hoop in the back. So when my brother would go back in, I would then take whatever the ball was, football, netball, basketball, whatever it was, and actually shoot it into the hoop. And that was like one of the things that really got me into playing the game. And from there, actually, my dad and I actually built a hoop and a backboard, put it up at the front together. And that was me doing kind of like crazy shots from the front drive and from the road. And my parents would go at me and be breaking windows and stuff. So that was the first thing. The second thing was, there was some stuff on TV. So at that point, I think there was a production company called Chrysalis or something, and they had a Channel 4 program, which was like an NBA wrap-up program. And that was kind of how a lot of us were consuming NBA content at that time, and also, trying to order random tapes or whatever it might have been from abroad. So watching that as well. And it's really funny because recently I commented to Beverly Turner, who was the presenter of that show, on Twitter, and I said, it's great what you're doing, but we really want NBA content. And she came back and she was like, those were early days, but thanks very much. And then the whole like, yeah, we want you back, and blah blah. So that was really cool because it was absolutely kind of integral to us understanding and learning the game, which was really cool. And then the third thing was my parents took us, I was very lucky. My parents took us to Orlando when we were kids, obviously.
Nice.
And, Orlando were a big team. And that was,
is this the Penny era?
Yeah,
Shaq era?
The Shaq era, yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, that was amazing. And for an English kid that kind of liked basketball, that kind of knew about it, to then be in Orlando and see everything, Magic, this, like it was all about the team at that point. And I just loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. And I came back home, and I remember asking my parents if I could get a basketball cap, if I get like a baseball cap, Orlando Magic one. And I remember at first they refused, because they just spent so much money taking us over to Orlando.
Yep.
But then they surprised me when we went to a market and they bought me a cap, an Orlando cap. And
That's amazing.
Like, yeah. And so from then on, it was like, I'm an Orlando fan. I'm going to try and follow these guys, get more into basketball, and then I want to play. And then and that was when I was young. And then I kind of demanded that they took me to a basketball club, and then I just kind of played from there. So yeah, it was probably those three things that kind of like the most.
I think that's our first netball entry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, which is a good crossover.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, like, it was there. My sister didn't play on it too much, but you know, the hoop was there. Why not?
Yeah.
And how old were you?
Oh, well, when I first started getting into basketball, I was probably about 8.
Okay, that's like the
pretty early.
The prime age. Yeah, a lot of people are like 17, 16, and it's like, oh, like if everyone started a little bit earlier, like the talent that could come out of the UK would be incredible.
Well, when I got into school, we had an American basketball coach called Mr. Canny, and he was an amazing, amazing coach. I mean, he made us run like crazy. It was like 2 months of basketball, but with no basketballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like conditioning.
Been there.
We've all had that coach.
Oh man, I mean, like those suicides after summer holidays.
Yeah,
you're gonna die after that. So that's why they call them suicides. So basically, he was a really great coach. And what was funny was that he was kind of asked, "Do you want to build a basketball team?" And I'm there as like one of the only kids that kind of liked the game and enjoyed it. So it was kind of, we kind of build a relationship straight away, because he's like, oh my God, there's someone that actually likes this game. So yes, that was great, and a really good way of kind of building, you know, on the passion for it, I suppose, and being able to play properly, you know, like intra-school games and stuff. We got killed, but it was still fun to play. So that's really the start of it, I suppose. Yeah.
Do you still support the Magic today?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Just wanted to check. Yeah, it's a tough one.
How about you both?
I'm a Pistons fan, so I'm with you. It's just tough days out here.
Nuggets. At least you have championships, Skylar.
Yeah, it's true.
We haven't even been to the finals, Martin.
Yeah, I can remember championships, which is great.
But we have Jokic, we have Jamal, we have a good team. So I'm excited now, but yeah, it's been a rough go of it.
Yeah, it's been tough. But hey, look, I mean, last playoffs, you guys did well, so.
That was electric. Great for High T Hoops content to have the Nuggets actually do well in the playoffs.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I believe that for sure.
And then just endless suffering for Skylar on the Pistons side. But moving on to a new topic. So we've talked to a lot of different players about hooping in the States and going and playing D1 or D2, D3, and wanting to go over to the AAU scene and kind of get into the college basketball scene here in the States. But we haven't heard many people who actually played hoops in uni in the UK. So what was that experience like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't first team or anything, put it that way.
So I don't even know, what does first team even mean? Help people who don't know anything about like hoops in UK unis.
In the relevance of, I mean, I wouldn't even try and compare to Div 1 or 2 or anything like that. But you know, it was like an A and a B team, put it that way for me.
Okay.
And you know, kind of like NBA and G League. But for anyone that's listening to this or watching at any point, like, it's not comparable to NBA or G League. I just like to throw it out.
I think there's an understanding there.
Yeah, right. Although there are some amazing, like, to be fair, like we had some amazing games, like against, you know, and when we were watching the first team play and training with them as well, some of those players were incredible. Like, honestly, you know, what's interesting is that you really got to see at a different level the kind of talent there is. Once you get to that level, you know, obviously when you're on a court or anything like that, or we're talking street ball, I mean, obviously I love that too. But then when you're playing a structured game at, you know, either kind of high level or just high school, you know, at school for us or at university, it is slightly different. I mean, we weren't traveling too much, we weren't doing a huge amount, but it was, you know, it was an attempted version of an organized game.
So what was the time commitment like? Is it like 40 hours a week, like in D1? Are you like, is it kind of a part-time thing? What is it like actually competing?
I'd love to be able to talk to university squads and actual teams that played, but a Birmingham B team wasn't exactly as hardcore as that. It was we'd be training. I wouldn't say it was 40 hours a week, but we trained like a few nights a week and then have our games on the weekends maximum.
That sounds amazing though. I would
sounds nice.
To get that again after I haven't played in like 9 months because of the pandemic. So man, a couple nights a week.
Like a really nice like uni experience. Whereas like you talk to D1 players and like, I mean, they're experiencing amazing things, but they fully have a job as well as having to go to school, which it doesn't end up sounding that fun.
It's not fun. You have to really, really love basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe if you're going to play at that level, you really need to take it to that level for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very lucky because I managed to go to UCLA for a year.
Oh, nice.
So I'm kind of a Bruin at heart, and and I was playing in there's the John Wooden Recreation Center. Yeah. And there's just 3 courts adjacent to each other, and you've just got games constantly going.
Oh my God.
And what's
Martin,
amazing,
you're hurting my feelings right now. Like the nostalgia is just coming up.
Yeah, right. Well, tell me about it. And it was an incredible experience. But what was really interesting is, we were playing like some classic pickup games on these beautiful courts.
But they're electric. John Wooden pickup games? Are you kidding? Like everything's on the line.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like it was really cool.
Yeah.
And basically when I was just kind of going and I was just playing, there were 2 things that happened which were really interesting. The first one is that no one could understand my name because when I say Martin, no one really hears it properly. So a lot of people were like, I come on the court and people would be like, hey, like I'm Tom or Tim or whatever.
I love your American accent already.
Yeah, that was a great accent.
Thanks. And they say, hey, like I'm only gonna do this a couple of times, but they said I don't want to kind of upset any of your American listeners, but
fuck them.
We don't have that many.
And they're like, hey Martin, they're like, hey man, they're like, hey, what's your name? I'm like, and then like, it's Martin. And so they go to shake my hand and they'd stopped before they shaking my hand, just at that one point, just as they're about to shake it. And they go, what? I'm like, it's Martin. And they're like, Melvin? And so the variations that I had on my name include, hey, what's your name? I'm Tim. And I'm like, oh, it's Martin. And they go, oh, Melvin? So Melvin, I've had Morton. One of the ones I had was Molten, in which case I was like, yes, like lava.
Yes, Molten.
And like the basketball. And then the last one I had was this guy. He's like, hey man, what's up? I'm Ryan. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Martin. He's like, Moses.
It's such like a Martin. Like it's such like it's so the American pronunciation, man.
Right. So in the end, I actually ended up like kind of going to like playing pickup and also going to Jumbo Juice and just making up names and saying, oh yeah, my name's Utah, or like I would just make up states and just like say that's my name.
Well, I love
That's so funny.
Going like when Skylar went to Kings, just saying Skylar like at Starbucks and having anyone try to figure out what Skylar's name is in the UK is a hilarious experience.
I had a very similar experience when I was in the UK because Skylar's a very American name, which I found out. I didn't really know that before. And I'd go to Starbucks and I would say my name and they would be like, what? And they'd start to, I have pictures of all my cups because you'd see them start to try to spell it on the cup. And a lot of times they'd give up halfway through, or I got Scallion, I got Cinderella, I got Scarlet, like they were wild. And so I did the same thing. I started saying different names.
You feel the pain. So that was, I mean, really that was kind of my first experience playing pickup on those courts. But the second thing, which was incredible, was on occasion the players for the team would actually come onto the courts, which was amazing. So they would just have runs on the courts, and basically what would happen is everyone would just stop playing. Because they just want to watch them. They just want to watch them ball. And so that was an amazing experience just to see the quality. And I wasn't lucky enough to see NBA players, but I knew that they were on campus. I knew they were training as well.
Yep.
So just the whole atmosphere was just incredible. So amazing times. Very different to
very nostalgic.
So let's shift a little bit towards your actual work in basketball. So tell us a little bit about the GG 3x3 tournament.
Close enough. 3x3.
3x3. Okay. I was saying 3x3 all morning and I was like, this isn't It doesn't sound right, but
Yeah,
I'm just gonna keep saying it.
Unit of measurement, I know.
Yeah. Tell us how it got started. You also put on clinics, right? Tell us everything.
Yeah, for sure. So 4 years ago, a friend of mine, George, passed away. Or 5 years ago, passed away from cancer, and we were teammates. We met when we were 12 years old on a basketball court.
Oh,
and
man.
so in 2016, look, he was a young guy. He was just kind of really just getting to a really good place in career and life and stuff.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and he was married for a year as well.
Oh.
So it was it was a pretty horrific July, and basically what happened was, we had this absolute mutual appreciation and love for the game. And so, the NBA All-Star game would play, and obviously over here in the UK, it's at a ridiculous time, and it's just stupid. Or he had a projector, and we would play 2K, and we would just play all night on the projector until the All-Star game, and then we just watch all night, and we would just talk about how good or bad the players were and constant stuff. Compete like when we were young about slam basketball collections and all that stuff. Of which I actually just recently found. My parents asked me to remove a whole bunch of stuff from my room because they're like converting it into a gym or something, and I basically found all this stuff, like all these old slam magazines and stuff like that.
That's amazing.
Look, Brian, I'm all about the nostalgia too, right? So
the Skybox, the Slam, the 90s basketball, man. NBA. Love it.
Just everything. All of that stuff was incredible. And the covers are incredible. So anyway, so unfortunately that happened. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I kind of felt a little bit of a void because he was really my like one true basketball buddy, if you like. You always kind of have that maybe that individual, that one or two or three people that you really talk about the game, and he statistically he was like incredible, like he just knew everything. So an amazing mind, and I love the game. So we used to play for years every Tuesday night at a school called JFS in Northwest London, and I just thought to myself, I got to do something, like I got to run something in his memory, whatever it is. And I did a bunch of research, and I spoke to a whole bunch of people whilst I had this idea, which included people like Sam Neater at Hoops Fix. Had a chat with him. Had a chat with Julius at Ball Out. I had a chat with, he was great. I had a chat with just a whole load of people just to say, like, I kind of want to do this properly. I don't just want to botch it together. And then one guy who was running something, he ran something in the States but was now living over here, was running something relatively similar in Memory of Friends. And so we had a really in-depth chat about what's the best way to do it. And really it all just came down to just put it on and make sure the tournament's really fun and energetic and that it's just constantly going. Like players just want to play, like, and maybe a bit of music, maybe a bit of food. So so in the first year I put together what was then called the GG3v3. So it's the George Goldstone, that was his name, the George Goldstone Charity Basketball Tournament, or the GG3x3 essentially. And and I had my friend Paul, who runs a function band, and he was the DJ. And for a charity event, I said to him, hey, look, we need like a good hip hop playlist, right? Like we need a good playlist for this thing. He's like, I got it. The moment that NWA comes on, you need to cut that stuff right now, like right now, at a charity family event. So anyway, so that was really funny. A few lessons learned with that. But anyway, we had like between 10 and 12 teams. I had some like banners created. Everyone was really supportive. We had a bit of food and stuff. And the primary kind of goal of that was always do it in George's name, do it in his honor, have something that's really fun. We had amazing prizes to give away to raise money as well. And we just, raised money and put on this tournament. And it just went so well that afterwards, even though I was exhausted, loads of people were like, when are you doing it again? And at that point, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I kind of knew I wanted to anyway. So, but now I've had the vindication from players that really enjoyed it.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, exactly. So the second year we held it at the same place. A very short story about that, but on the Sunday was when we meant to run it. And on the Friday night, I get a call and they said that the people that are putting in a new flooring have drilled into pipes into the court.
Ooh.
And then my court is flooded. So
water polo.
Yeah.
Switch over.
Seriously. Like, I mean, I know you guys have, you know, are really involved in the basketball scene, but you know when things just don't necessarily go your way.
Oh yeah.
Whether or not the basketball scene or your career. And I'm just there on a Friday evening. I get this call in, and I was going around to my parents to have dinner. And I remember the phone calling and the woman saying, "Hey, Martin," I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Can't wait to see you on Sunday. Everything's ready, volunteers, banners, teams are ready to go." And she's like, "I'm really sorry, but you don't have a basketball court." And I was like, So on the Saturday, I went to Costco. I bought 4 basketball hoops, and a whole load of volunteers came Sunday morning at 7 a.m. and we built the courts outside.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we got tape. We taped it out. We got measuring like things. I had like a group of people building the hoops. I had like, you know, so I had people like Dean, like Ginger Shack, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Shugs and those guys with my dad building that. And then I had just like,
That's amazing.
It was pretty crazy. And whilst they're building the court, we're then running our very first kids clinic at the same time on a separate court. And I'm like running between two on the hottest day of the year. It was mad, but also incredible.
That's magical. That would be incredible.
Yeah,
just like true community effort, bringing everything together.
It really was. It really was. I mean, that's really, you know, I've always said that the GG3x3 and kind of like what the whole kind of entity represents. There's 3 things, right? We raise money for cancer charities and just charities that really need it in Georgia's honor. Grow the game and grow grassroots basketball. And then the third thing is just kind of unite communities. And like, what better way than a crazy challenge than to do something like that. So yeah, and then after that it kind of grew, and we had 2 levels of men's. And then the third year we held it at University of East London. So changed the venue, made it much bigger. Had some sponsors, flew in Jordan Sutherland from Atlanta for a dunk contest, and he competed against Joel Henry and Johan Limi from France.
The Royal, what is he? The Royal Guard or something on the Royal Guard. Man, his videos are incredible.
He is awesome.
He jumps over people, Skylar, and grabs the ball off the top of their head. It's unbelievable.
It's insane.
Just phenomenal athleticism, and and he works super hard. And we have always been chatting. And the guys over at Dunk Elite have been amazingly supportive even since day one. And so we were like, can we make this happen with Joel? And he came over, and you know, I'm proud to say, and I think not too bashful to say, like, you know, that was probably the best UK dunk contest we've had in a long time.
Love it.
For sure.
That's amazing to hear.
Your love of the All-Star games transferring over.
Yeah.
You know, you love to have that energy.
Well, the reality is, like, you just want to create something that you want to see, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the people going.
Get the people going. Yeah, that's right. That's it. So, you know, we had food stalls outside. We had a women's tournament, men's elite, men's challenge, raffles, prizes. You know, Pro Direct got involved, Nike got involved, the NBA store got involved. You know, we had Always Board that provided jerseys for the dunkers. It was like a massive effort, but it really kind of grew the level. Like, we really raised the level for this event. But the reality is, it's always been about the community too. So that's why I was so keen to do the clinics as well, like coach the kids, do stuff in the community as well. And that's really what it's about.
And you just did one at the Regal, right? Yeah,
we did one in October, just before the second lockdown. I had 2 coaches, Joe and Afiz, Way to Work and Jump for Health. They came along, did it at the Regal. And it was just an amazing day. You know, Nike was very, very lucky, and you know, we were lucky because they just provided free basketballs for every kid. And so we handed them out. They signed their ball, they trained with it, and then they get to take it home.
There's nothing kids love more than free balls. It's unbelievable.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's an amazing experience just to see them grab like this really cool free basketball, and so it's been it was a really good experience to be able to do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that you just had this idea and then just built it yourself. It's amazing. It's an incredible story.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of how I feel generally about stuff in life, but also about the game and basketball in the UK. And in particular, I should say that Jason Henley at Regal was just incredible.
Jason's great.
His view about the community is just
so open.
Oh man,
he's one of the first people we spoke to when we started High Tea Hoops.
Yeah. Jason is an absolutely fantastic human being in general, but it just so happens that he's also a big, amazing human being that loves the game.
Yeah.
So we've built up a really nice friendship, and that's also how it happened. But yeah, in answer to your question, the way I see it is you can't just expect things to happen.
Yeah.
Got to build it. What are you doing this year? Hopefully vaccines come out late summer, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully there are a bunch of opportunities. One thing I can't mention just yet.
Okay, that's fine. No, don't reveal any secret information on this podcast. We don't want to be liable for anything.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, one thing hopefully which will be like a big collaboration, which will be really cool, and that'll be revolving around the clinics and the idea of coaching kids. That's
amazing.
Really, as long as the COVID restrictions allow.
Yeah.
The tournament itself, absolutely. I mean, if the restrictions allow, then we will have a women's tournament. We'll have 2 level for men, challenge and elite, and we'll have a wheelchair tournament too.
Amazing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, every year I want to raise the game. So every time there's something else that we've done that either encourages more people to play, brings more people together, or really just gives ballers an opportunity to play, right? That's really what it's about. Like, people just desperate to play. So
Martin, can you help me convince Skylar to join one of these teams and play in the tournament? I've been trying to get her back into playing for years now. Skylar.
Why haven't you played?
Honestly, this is a very honest answer, which I did not think I would say on this podcast. I'm just not willing to put in the work to get back in playing shape. I'm just not. Like, I'll get into shape, but playing shape is just a whole other game. Beast.
Yeah.
That I don't think I'm willing to do it, honestly.
We'll get you back into it, Skylar. It'll be a slow process.
I haven't played in like 10 years, and so I just know how much work I would have to put in, and it just...
You've played on our TikToks. Your shot is still there.
Brian...
Okay.
You just got to get those hip flexors open back up.
The TikToks are only seeing the good shots.
Right.
No, they're not. You make every shot. What are you talking about?
I make every shot. Yeah, that's true.
But what I will say is that it's really fun. It's for a great cause.
Yep.
It's for the kids, Skylar.
And it's for it's for the kids. It's for the whole community. So like, it's not just about you enjoying the game. Like, do it for everyone else.
It's not just about me. That's what I need to tell myself.
Look at the kid in the eye and say, "I'm not playing. I'm not supporting you.
I'm too lazy. I will not support you." All right.
Well,
I think this podcast might be what convinces me.
Yes, do it. Do you want to dive into any of the clinic stuff, Skylar? Or do you want to move topics?
Let's move on to Project Swish, because I've been dying to get into it. So how about we just start with you telling us, what is Project Swish and how did you get involved?
So Project Swish is Basketball England's grassroots campaign, or kind of initiative, I suppose we should call it. And from my understanding, I mean, they can tell you in their kind of one word, probably one sentence, a bit more eloquently than me, but from the way that I see it is that Project Swish is an initiative that really helps to promote grassroots basketball, whether that is through regenerating courts, which is one of their kind of like big missions, through to the actual Project Swish campaign, which is when they were providing people with nets to put up on their home courts. That's how I see. That's how they describe it.
Yeah.
And in terms of kind of my own involvement, well, I've seen them before, and I saw it on kind of Instagram and some of the stuff that they were doing. And I love grassroots basketball. I love community stuff. You know, that's really like, that's kind of my bread and butter stuff. So I saw that. Me and my guy Scott went to a hoop and kind of put up a net in my local court, which happens to be on Iverson Road. And I was like, this is
fate.
I have to put a net here,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And then I contacted Basketball England, and I was like, look, I don't just want to do this in my hood. Like I want to do this all over London. And I don't know if at first they thought I was being serious, because that is a project and a half. And so I just, you know, I kind of presented the idea, and I said, look, this is kind of how I would see it working. And we talked about it loads, and we talked about how it would work. And I just said, look, I'm going to put this video out there. And we're just going to request for people to recommend courts for us to go to.
Yep.
All over London. And they're like, all right, like, go for it. Good luck. And God, we had about 83 courts that were recommended across London to put up nets.
Wow.
And then my job was to essentially kind of sort through them and go, okay, well, how do we do this? Now, originally the idea was to just do it in 24 hours. So we were calling it the Nothing But Net 24-hour challenge.
Yeah.
But then I realized that parks shut.
Yeah.
And I didn't really fancy like getting a whole team to climb over a fence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Legally to get into a court. And so instead it ended up being, let's do a day where we do north, let's do a day where we do south, and then east and west. And I, you know, we did a whole load. And
how many courts? It seemed endless.
It did seem
endless. It went on for quite well. What people don't realize is that we had Instagram requests either on the Project Swish or on the GG3x3 Instagram page of people who were just like, hey, can you just come do this?
Yeah.
And what you don't realize is that going to a court, seeing whether they have the loops on or not, seeing how much tape you're going to need, how many cable ties you're going to need. Like if it doesn't have hoops, you've got to do both.
Yep.
And we were making them super secure. So we were taping them first, then we were cable tying, and then we were taping. No matter what the weather was, no matter like, you know, how hard it was to do it. And so we were saying that a minimum time spending on one hoop is about 15 to 20 minutes. Yep. So people are like, hey, can you just come and do this? It was like, well, no.
It takes time.
Like we've got to structure this. We've got to work out how we're going to do it. So each time we went out across London, I would try and pull together a group of people. Hopefully one of them has a vehicle, maybe not. And then say, look, we're going to spend all day. And so I would prepare the route the night before, kind of have a general idea. We put together what that route's going to be on a route finder. And then over a period of about 3 months, 14 volunteers, all at different times, came with me, and we just spent the entire day. So in the morning, I'd wake up, I get all my supplies. And what was amazing was that after the first one, a relation of George messaged me and said, I want to help fund the rest of it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so Basketball England were providing the nets and the equipment and promoting it on social and stuff. And it was an amazing collaboration with Basketball England. Those guys were amazing at Project Swish. But then I got this message, and he's like, what's your PayPal? And I was like, what? And he goes,
excuse me, what?
I was like, what? And he goes, what's your PayPal? And I was like, well, I don't understand. He's like, I love it. Let me send you some money. And that allowed us to hire cars. It allowed us to pay for everyone's lunch. Like it allowed me to like really take care of all the volunteers coming, because some people were coming from Portsmouth to come and help.
Wow.
Like people were like coming from, you know, all over, not just from London, to come and help do this. Because it has this like incredible like feeling. When you put up a net, like, honestly, it's incredible. You put up a net on a hoop. First of all, that's an amazing in itself, right? To like finally do that kind of thing. Then when you like shoot the first shot on a hoop, okay, that's an incredible feeling. But when you're walking away or you're doing another hoop and you see a bunch of kids or you see a group of people playing on that hoop, that's a whole different feeling entirely.
That's amazing.
It was really fun, really hard at times. You know, we were doing it in pouring rain in sometimes and baking heat in others. But the feedback and the vibe that we got from it was just incredible. Someone said to me on a court on Hackney Downs in East London, he said, hey, why are you filming this? Are you getting paid for this? And I said, no, man, we're not getting paid. We're not getting paid. He's like, yeah, but why are you doing this? And I didn't even answer, but one of the volunteers turned around and just said, "We love the game. We want to help community." And I'm like, "That's what it's about."
Yes.
Like, that's the message.
Well, it's so interesting, like us, Skylar and I getting into UK hoops more, and I've spent the last couple of years going to London a lot, and it's hard to find pickup games. It's hard to find good courts. They don't have often nets. And, as you see on social media, people constantly complain that we don't have access to hoops with nets. And, or if they see a hoop with a net, they're like, wow, where'd you find a hoop with a net in the UK?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it's a unicorn. So what do you think kind of the impact, you talked about the kids playing, what is the difference between, because it seems like such a small thing, maybe if you're not in the basketball community or in basketball, of just having a net on a rim. But what do you think that shows to people and to kids who are trying to play more hoops in the UK?
Well, the way that I saw it was, there's several benefits of doing what we were doing. So for me, it was about inspiring other people to put up nets too. I mean, I instantly got messaged by people in Oxford that want to do it across Oxford, and another person that was across Cambridge. I don't know if they're uni students, but they were kind of desperate. So that was about kind of inspiring people to take care of their own home courts and not just rely on councils. So this always goes back to the same ethos of you just got to go and do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
So for one, I just wanted to inspire people to get them motivated to go and do it. It's not hard. Get a ladder, get your friends to come and help you up, get some tape. Basketball England will provide all that stuff for you. You just got to go and put the time in, right? So that was the first thing, just inspiring and motivating to people. In terms of actually having like hoops on, like having nets on hoops, someone said to me, why does it make a difference? And well, obviously it's like, first of all, like the sound of a swish is like nothing else, right? Like, I'm not saying my shots are like that, but on the odd occasion when I shoot a nice shot.
Skylar knows. She's a shooter.
Yeah, see, Skylar, I've got to see this at the tournament. That's what I'm saying.
All of my shots go in. Okay.
No one's ever seen a Skylar miss a shot.
I love it. Always 100 for 100.
Yeah. There's nothing like that sound when you hit the rim when there's not a net on it too. Just that ding. It's just like, ooh. Not that I would know, because I've never missed a shot, but.
Or it goes in and it's just like, there's no positive feedback loop. You're like, all right.
You're like, that was ugly. Okay.
People are like, did that miss? And you're like, no, that went in.
Yeah.
For sure. So there's that second element, which is all about kind of, helping players play, right? And enjoy the game, enjoy the actual game itself. There is something different about having a net. The third thing as well, I was going to say, which is about seeing the net on the court. And this is different for both players and people that don't play. And this could be families on a basketball court. It could be anyone. But if you walk past a basketball court and they have some brand new fresh hoops, like fresher nets on a hoop, the general aesthetic of the court and the whole park changes.
Yep.
Like I don't think it's like too much to say that. I don't think it's too extreme to say that. But if you see nets on a hoop compared to a basketball court with no nets, it looks like it's being taken care of. It looks like somewhere I want to play.
It looks like people care. It's like, basketball is a thing. I think that's one of the biggest things is basketball is for real. Like it is here. People play it. People care about it enough to take care of these courts. And it's not just this like tertiary or sport we don't even think about in the UK. It's actually being supported.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think, it just needs more people to kind of take care of their courts, which is again, something that I'm going to try and be pushing this year, which is kind of, a bit of street ball home court love, essentially.
What breaks my heart though, Martin, is these pyramids of disappointment that are now on all of these rims where, or they take the rims off. The pyramid, there's these wooden pyramids of disappointment. And you went on, was it the BBC that you went on?
Yeah, I went on BBC, yeah.
Talk about that appearance where you're saying of the importance of actually leaving these things up.
Yeah, well, I mean, so basically what happened was some of the hoops, people were sending, the social media was going crazy, right? So the whole basketball community was like sharing it, going, this is absolutely mental. And eventually someone sent me some images of hoops that we put nets on that had been removed with hoops being removed or boxes on. And I was like, all right, that's the last straw. I was like, I'm not having that, basically. So fortunately, because of my day job, I know how to contact certain people in newspapers and broadcasting. I didn't know if it was going to go anywhere. I honestly didn't. But basically, the title of my email to them was "Save Our Hoops," and you know, they just love the community element of it. They were
Mhm.
going to do it as part of a wider what sports aren't going to work, like what aren't what, you know, what sports are not happening at the moment, what can you play, what can't you play. But eventually, once we started talking over the 2 week period, and I started sending them photos and images, and I told them about the backstory of Project Swish and the Nothing But Net London challenge, they were like, we're just going to do it on basketball. And
Amazing.
like,
Let's go. Because you just put them all up and then they took them all down, or not all of them, but if you take them down after that whole initiative, it's such a heartbreaker.
Yeah,
exactly. So you know, I said to them, look, you know, I would love to be able to talk about it. I said, look, it doesn't need to be me, like it could be anyone else in the community, but we're all feeling the same way. Would you be interested in running the story? And as usual, well, sometimes as usual, it was kind of like, yeah, maybe. And then a few days later, it was like, what are you doing tomorrow afternoon, like tomorrow morning on a basketball court? And I'm like, okay, I better grab all my stuff.
Let me plan something.
Yeah, like let me think about what I'm going to say. And it was just, you know, it was I would like to say it was an amazing experience. It was a great experience because I felt like we were really having our voices heard.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the only / you know, I'm like one basketball fan essentially that wants to make it grow in the UK and really believes in everyone just getting the opportunity to play. And at that point in time, that's what works. Like, you know, unfortunately with the pandemic and the seriousness of it, again, courts have been shut down. And yeah, you call the periods of dismay, is that right?
The pyramids, yeah. Oh, I like that better. Pyramids of dismay.
I actually, the pyramids of dismay or the pyramids of doom. I feel like
exactly.
Like it's either going to be like a Harry Potter or Indiana Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and it really hurt to see that stuff. Like it really hurts going past. Like someone said to me the other day, oh hey, look, they sent me a photo of a court in Northwest London with a pyramid on it. And I'm like, and they're kind of like joking, they're like, oh man, they were like, hey, look, this is really bad. And what's funny is like, I kind of want to laugh at the same time because it's ridiculous. But at the same time, like I'm genuinely sad about seeing it. And whether or not it is the right thing to do to stop people from playing, it still hurts.
Like it hurts. What are they going to put spikes on a football pitch? Like, no. Like people are going to go do what they, and playing alone or just shooting with a friend. Like it's not just a 5-on-5 contact. There's so many ways to participate. It's really sad.
For sure. And so for individuals that are really desperate to train, I mean, the amount of people that I've had message me that are like, hey, do you know of any open courts? You know, because they've seen that I've done this thing across London, a lot of people are, you know, and kids, like they've messaged me, DM me, whatever, like on Twitter or on Instagram, and they're just like, hey, look, do you know of any courts?
Where can I go play? Yeah.
Where can I go and play? And that breaks my heart because that is what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
Generally, is trying to get people to play and be active. So look, hopefully come April, May, when things start opening up again, people will really get an opportunity to play, and we can, you know, maybe we'll do it again. You know, maybe we'll do the net thing again. But either way, I've now got an incredible list of courts around London.
Yes, perfect.
You're the court king now.
Yeah, someone's like, oh, I train in this place. And I'm like, yeah, that's right by the left.
You're like, I put that hoop up. You're welcome.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, look, those are my stickers, you know. That's me. So yeah.
So let's finish up on one last question. You mentioned your day job. You're in PR. So what advice would you give to British basketball players and teams as they, you know, try to build their brands? Where should they focus? How can they grow? Give us your professional opinion.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is
putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, this is something that I'm trying to do myself. So
I think we all are.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is about trying to grow, but these are kind of various different elements or steps that I think really make a difference. So for me, growing the game generally, and not just from a BBL perspective, but just everyone that wants this game to grow in the UK. Yeah. The first thing I would say is grassroots basketball must be high on the list.
Yep.
And I don't just mean schools. Like I don't just mean that. I mean literally courts, like outside courts.
Yeah.
And it's about showcasing people on those courts and players on those courts, and actually, you know, maybe if it was for BBL athletes to go down to those courts to run free sessions, you know, it's about kind of local community.
Yeah.
But in that respect, also on the grassroots element, it's also about collaboration. Collaboration is absolutely essential as far as I see it. You know, every time I try and run a new clinic, I always try and bring in new coaches. Every time. So during the pandemic, I ran something called ISOFIT, right? Which was, I was originally going to call that CoFit 19, but I realized that was a bit much. But we called it ISOFIT. And so I had 14 skills and strength and conditioning coaches come online and literally coach me live. And then they each individually filmed their own, their own thing.
Yeah.
And they filmed their own thing, and then we posted that up. And for me, that wasn't just about show us what's good. It was actually, can I help you get to a new audience?
Yeah.
Can I help showcase the quality? Because my belief is, and whether or not you believe this or not, but there are some incredible coaches and incredible people in the community, in the basketball community in the UK. And one of the ways to grow the awareness of that is for them to collaborate.
Yeah.
Certain basketball clubs or teams or academies, and this is just from what I hear, are quite siloed in their approach. And I think a collaboration is massive. And look, I mean, that's what sometimes I advise clients, think about collaboration with like, oh, you're doing this report. Have you thought about bringing in a professor, as like a third party expert? Have you thought about, if you're doing this report, have you thought about collaborating with a local school or a university to try and engage them? What about another business from a commercial aspect? How will that help? So I do think you don't just have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Bringing other people, bringing the other experts in, like you guys, for example, from a
We're
TikTok, from a
experts.
podcast, from a social media perspective, from a marketing perspective, just bring people in and also ask the question. So this is actually something that I get asked a lot by people that want to run events. So I've helped like a few people run their own events, like around the UK, just like we had calls and stuff, and I just kind of give them some indication. And they're like, oh, but I don't know whether I should message that person. I'm like, how do you know if you don't ask?
Yeah.
How do you know if you're not reaching those people? So again, it's about thinking, okay, well, it's not just about who's going to benefit me, but how do we all benefit? So what can the BBL teams bring to that person that they want to bring in to help do that as well? We've seen that a lot. And then, from an awareness perspective, it's doing what you guys are doing, right? It's really pushing it out. It's creating loads of content and really making it out there. Like, I mean, I need to practice more of doing that myself. And I've just been kind of like busy creating different things. But yeah, I mean, like it's creating lots of different content and just giving it a go as well. I think my view is that some people or clubs or whoever it might be are quite set in how they want to do stuff. And I think now is the time to just like have a go, like give it a go, like
experiment, push the boundaries, get the new audiences, go to new channels. Yeah, absolutely.
Get like a crazy videographer that does like really random different shots of your players. Like, get your players involved individually, I think is really big. So I think from the BBL perspective or honestly at any level, the more you can get the engagement, from what we call our stakeholders, right? Our core stakeholders. Well, you've got your internal stakeholders. So these are your players, and then your external public as well. How are you going to get them to engage? And, it's right now, everyone needs a feel good factor. So the more fun, the more exciting, I'm always doing, well, I like to try and think I've started to do more films and footage of like random stuff, right? So for example, it was snowing and like took my drone out and I just filmed the court. And it just looks cool. Like it's just cool. I like it. I think it's fun. Do I know if people will respond or like? I don't know.
You're looking at the target audience though, so there are definitely people out there.
Right.
If there's a hoop in your shot, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah. Right. But for me, it's just about really just doing what is enjoyable, what's going to work, and seeing what works. If you keep on doing the same thing, nothing's going to work. And actually, just do it. Like just go and do it.
Yeah.
Try things.
I think a lot of people they have. They obviously have people that need to answer to sometimes. Depending on the level of the club or whatever it might be. Even at school level, PE teachers need to listen. But I think just giving it a go and speaking to people that may have done it before or know about it, and then just doing it. Now is the best time.
Yeah,
Why not?
it's the absolute best time to be trying new things. I think a lot of people are. Yeah, that's great advice. Martin, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great. Well, thank you so much for inviting me on. My cheeks are now suddenly going really red because I realized I put the heating up really high.
No worries.
It's okay. Audio medium.
And can't wait to hoop this summer a bit.
Yeah. Where can the people find you?
So on Twitter, I'm just at Martin Dyan. That's just me. On Instagram, it's at the GG3x3.
Great.
And those are the two best things. We're on Facebook as well, but most of the time, just all over there. And, you know, like if people want to talk about grassroots projects or they want to run their own tournaments, you know, in particular, one of the big things I'm going to be pushing is 3-on-3 basketball this year.
Great.
3x3. And that is like, that's going to be massive over here. I mean,
Yeah.
that could be a whole nother podcast, but that's going to be my,
Let's do it.
You're going to be seeing me do a lot of stuff in 3x3 basketball over the next year. So I'm super excited about that. So yeah, thank you very much. It's been really great.
Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Martin.